Your man's friends are not your friends, because when he's cheating on you, when he's fucking you over, he and his friends are all a part of it. They're all witnessing what's going on. They are always going to have loyalty, and they're always going to be indebted to him over you. So don't be thinking that your man's friends are your friends, because they're not.
It's been a minute since we last kicked it. By the way, just got in town, and I won't let cumulus clouds all in the sky.
Guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. And if you are new, girl, what's up? Welcome to the Dakota Crew family. My name is Dakota. I make a ton of content on this channel that I think you'll really enjoy. So if you do like today's video, please consider subscribing. It is free. While you're at it, give this video a huge thumbs up and hit that bell icon in the corner for your post notifications. This way you're notified every single time your girl posts on YouTube, period. For today's video, y'all know I don't really drink like that no more, but you know it is a video when I have a bottle opener and a drink, because what the fuck? Like, what the fuck is this video? This used to be my freaking holy grail when I was in high school. I used to drink Twisted Teas with my friend Janelle all the freaking time, and these shits have so much sugar in them. Like, what were we thinking? Like, how was I not 300 pounds? Like, I'm so confused about it. Yeah, today's story is gonna be one that's a little more recent. I know you guys like when I tell more recent story times. Unfortunately, my life is just not full of drama anymore. I have found my peace, and I need to actually close this window because I love the Marilyn Monroe vibe, but like my hair is getting in my lip gloss and we don't want that. Thank you. Honestly though, like, my life is just so peaceful now. I don't have drama in it anymore. I don't like surrounding myself with drama. I feel like having drama at this big old age is embarrassing. Like, it really is embarrassing. So for me, like, my stories that I tell are from the past, and you guys like the more recent ones, or like early to mid 20s, because I'm now 28. I was going through my old voice notes the other day, and I found the voice note that is the receipt of this story, and I'm like, how the fuck have I never told this story on my channel? This story is going to be about the time that I guess you could say my boyfriend and his friend fought because of me, even though like I just was minding my business. Like, I don't really fucking know. Go ahead and get your wine, get your snacks, get your drink, get your popcorn, get a notepad on what not to do, and let's get into this ratchet story time. Cheers. Oh god, it tastes like fucking 7th grade. Before we start today's video, I did really quickly want to give a shout out to today's video sponsor, which is Skillshare. Skillshare is basically like an online learning community. There is thousands of online classes for anybody who is looking to either boost their creativity or learn a new skill. Now, for me personally, when I go onto Skillshare, my favorite classes to take are the ones about self-love, self-development, and self-improvement, but there is a skill for everybody to learn. It does not just stop there. Skillshare has classes from cooking to baking, photography, online marketing, entrepreneurship, and so much more. What I love about Skillshare is the convenience factor. Number one, it is ad-free, unlike most online platforms, so you can stay in the zone while learning your new skill. I also really enjoy how I can do Skillshare from virtually anywhere that I'm at, whether I'm at Starbucks, whether I'm at home, whether I'm at the library, or if I'm just waiting for my daughter to get out of gymnastics. I have the time and the convenience factor right at the hand of my laptop or my phone to complete a class. I personally really love taking this time management class. It is by Liz Brindley. It really has been helping me out over the week just to navigate my time a bit better, get organized, and stay on task. So I really recommend you check it out if you also struggle with time management too. My classes personally take anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour to complete. You don't have to wait a whole entire week in order to complete everything. There isn't a huge commitment. You can just do it wherever you're at, wherever you want. That's honestly my why behind Skillshare and why I was interested in joining in the first place, because I really wanted to start picking up a hobby and picking up new skills. But as a single mom and a business owner, it's really hard for me to devote and carve out that time per week. I'm more of a I'll do it when I get to it type of person. So the fact that I'm able to do a class whenever I want and there's no like deadline or commitment of time for me to be there is really huge for me, which is why I love Skillshare so much. Skillshare is also specific to your needs and super inclusive. They have subtitles ranging anywhere from German, French, English, Portuguese, and Spanish. Skillshare is an amazing way to invest in your creativity, which is in turn investing into yourself, especially with this year coming to an end and the new year coming up. It's really important to take that time to invest into yourself and set your intention of what you want to do with your time and what you want to do with your energy in the new year. which is why it would be a great idea for you guys to take advantage of this offer. If you click the link in my bio, the first 1,000 people can get a month of Skillshare completely free, girl. So if you would like to join me in the journey of investing in yourself, you guys always know that I am always looking to be a better person, become a better woman. If you guys would also like to join me, all you have to do is just super easy, is click in the bio. All you have to do is sign up and you get a free month of Skillshare if you were one of the first 1,000 people to go ahead and click that link. Skillshare, thank you so much for sponsoring this video, and now let's get on into the story time. So, like I said, this is like the first and only, actually no, I have a couple story times where I have receipts. I'm telling you, I used to be a receipt ass bitch, okay? I used to keep everything. Like, I used to keep text messages from years and years and years and years ago in case I needed them, and then I stopped being a psychopath and I was like, who the fuck needs text messages from your ex from like 6th grade? Not me. So now I honestly go through my phone once a week. I delete text messages. I think the only texter that I keep is like the text between me and my best friend Tori. Like, even like her old phone, like, I keep texts from because I just love our conversations so much and I just never want to forget them. Other than that, I really don't keep text messages. So the fact that I have receipts for this story time is so exciting to me. So let's get into it. So if you guys watched the video titled I Dated a Master Manipulator, it's not about this guy I'm going to talk about, because honestly, this guy who we name Jose is not a bad guy. He wasn't a bad boyfriend. He wasn't the worst I ever had, but he also like wasn't the best. It just ended up not working out. But he did do a couple things that pissed me off. Number one, he lied to me about where he worked and the job that he had. And number two, he would try to, I don't think he did it on purpose, I just think he didn't want to lose me, but he would like emotionally manipulate me. Every time I would go to break up with him, he would threaten to hurt himself and things of that nature. And I just really don't appreciate that, because I feel like if somebody wants to leave you, if somebody wants to break up with you and they're being honest with you, it may suck and it may hurt, but that is their choice. We have free will as human beings here on this earth at the end of the day, and I think that you always need to honor other people's choices. In the situation, I feel like mine just were not honored at all. As I said, if you watch the video, I Dated a Master Manipulator, I talk about this character Jose, and if you didn't see the video, I'll catch you up to speed super quick on our backstory. Me and one of my friends had gone out one night to the bar just to go out, let loose, have some fun. We both had sitters for the night, so we went to go have dinner and have drinks. While we were there, it was me and my two friends, and we were just dancing, having a good time, and these two guys walk up to us, and Jose, which is what I named him, talked to me and basically was like, hey, my friend thinks that you're really cute, he thinks you're really beautiful, but he doesn't have the balls to come up in here and talk to you, so I'm kind of doing it for him. And I was kind of like, okay, well, if he wants to talk to me, he can come up to me and talk to me. Like, what the fuck? Like, I think that's so weird. Like, if you like a girl, just go up to her and talk to her. Like, why does it have to be this whole like, oh, go up to her and tell her I think she's cute? Like, it's like high school, like we're on the fucking playground again. So then me and Jose ended up talking a lot. Like, so his friend ended up coming over, introducing himself. We're just gonna call his friend AJ. What ended up happening, long story short, is me and Jose ended up really hitting it off, and AJ actually was taking a liking to my friend. She wasn't really interested, but she was kind of playing wing woman for me, because my friends know when I go out, I don't find anybody cute, I don't find anybody attractive, I don't even talk to anybody. I'm very picky, and it's not to say I'm better than anybody, because I don't think I am better than anybody, but you have to have a certain type of aura for me to be attracted to you. Physical is just not going to do it. I need mental stimulation as well. So anyway, me and Jose ended up really hitting it off, and we ended up exchanging Instagrams that night. Now, throughout the whole entire night, we're kind of just like dancing, having a good time, getting to know each other, and I left, and we ended up setting up a date that next week. I had a cute date at the bowling alley. It was really nice, and he was like a really like sweet guy. He didn't try to like push himself onto me. He didn't even like hold my hand or anything. He just was very like respectful and kind of like, you know, had boundaries, and I really liked that about him. Long story short, we end up dating. So we started talking in February. I want to say that we started officially dating in July or end of June, sometime in that time frame. And this was during the pandemic, okay? So this was like a pandemic relationship. So we ended up having our relationship, and I just kind of noticed, I think maybe like a couple months into it, that we just were not compatible. We were two different people. We liked completely different things. The only thing we really had in common was like the music that we liked, and that we both were into astrology. And other than that, there was really nothing else that we had in common. I felt like he wasn't as affectionate as I was, which is perfectly fine. We all have different love languages. But when I am with somebody, I love affection. I need affection. It's my number one language besides gifts and words of affirmation. And I just feel like in this case, he just wasn't affectionate towards me. And I'm a very communicative person. So if I have an issue with somebody, whether it's a friendship or a relationship, I'm very confrontational and I will confront the problem and bring it up in a way so we can kind of figure out what to do. And I feel like if I have to bring something up 1, 2, 3 times, that's 2 times too many, and once should be enough. So I kind of kept telling him, like, I feel like you don't even really like me because you just never are affectionate towards me. I feel like it's pulling teeth for me to even get you to like hold my hand, or like, you know, it's weird. And come to find out, he actually did really like me and he was super into me. It's just he had been super burned from past relationships. So he was having a hard time opening up to me and being vulnerable because he thought if he opened up too much or was too vulnerable with me that, you know, I would like take advantage of that or have the upper hand. And he just didn't want to get hurt. He was protecting himself. I can completely understand that, but the way that I was mindset wise is I had already done so much work at this point to get past my trauma when it comes to relationships, when it comes to being burned and things of that nature, because I had had a year of complete celibacy before I started talking to Jose. I had a pretty toxic relationship. When I got out of that relationship, I kind of realized that, you know, it's obviously not all of these men that are the issue if I'm the one who's allowing like toxic people to come into my life. So I took a year off from dating, from seeing anybody, completely, you know, put that focus on myself. I went to therapy. I started working on my codependency, working on my shadow work, doing EMDR therapy, inner child work. And I completely took that year to be intentional and work on myself. So by the time that this year had come and gone, I had done so much work within myself that like I was ready for a healthy relationship. And it's not that Jose wasn't healthy, it's just he had had some pretty toxic, bad relationships and he had not worked through them. Being a year single versus being a year of single and being intentional with working on yourself are two completely different things. Time doesn't heal shit. I really can't stand that quote that's like, time heals everything, because no, it doesn't. It's about what you do within that time. You could be a year off from dating, from seeing anybody, but if you still have that same toxic mindset of like, everybody who comes into my life is going to screw me over, everyone who comes into my life is going to, you know, fuck me over or whatever, that's not a healthy mindset to have, and that just shows a lot of inner work that you have to do within yourself. He would talk about his ex all the time. And in my mind, I'm like, yo, if you still love her, go be with her. Like, why are we even talking or doing this thing if you still have feelings for your ex? Like, it was very confusing, very frustrating. And I'd bring it up to him often. I'd be like, I don't like when you talk about her. Like, it's weird, it's annoying, I can't stand it. Like, can you please stop doing it? I just feel like he would, and then he would do this thing that like, oh my God, certain people in my family do when I can't fucking stand. It's like when you like set a boundary and you're like, hey, can you stop talking about this? And they're like, oh yeah, sure, no problem, sorry, I didn't know it bothered you. And they go to bring it up and they'd be like, I know it bothers you, but I just have to vent. Blah, 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 blah. Did you just not hear me the first time in my boundary when I said don't talk about it? Are you okay? Like, where is the disconnect? Where is the, did we get lost in translation somewhere? So he started doing that and it really would piss me off. So it got to a point where like I couldn't stand him talking about his ex anymore. There was such a lack of affection, and also like my mental health. Like I was going through a really hard time. It was the middle of the pandemic. Everybody was depressed during the middle of the pandemic, but I already suffered from severe anxiety and I was just having a really, really hard time, you guys. And I felt like during that time I was looking for comfort from my partner and he just wasn't giving that to me. I feel like I would bring up my anxiety and I'd be like, oh my God, like I'm stressed about this, or I don't know, I had a bad day. And he'd be like, oh man, like, you know, sorry to hear that. Or he'd be like, damn, that sucks. And I'm just like, can you give me something more than that, please? Because this is just not, it's not cutting it for me. I had gotten tired of over-explaining myself, over-exerting myself. I felt like we were just on two completely different levels, and I ultimately ended up ending the relationship with him. The first time I ended the relationship, I want to say it was in August, I want to say. So I ended the relationship in August, and we had ended on good terms, and to be honest, I should have just completely ended it there, but he, you know, ended up calling me and just telling me that he realizes the things that he needs to do to be the man I need him to be, but also the man that he needs to be for himself. He realized that he let his past relationship completely dictate the trajectory of his future relationships, and that he no longer wanted to do that, and that he knew that I needed better and that he could be better, and to give him another chance. And for me, I was like, okay, I see somebody who is acknowledging their wrongs and is acknowledging the things they need to work on, so who am I to be like, no, forget you, you already showed me who you were, I need to be done. Like, in my mind, I'm just explaining how I was thinking. I needed to give him another chance. So we ended up giving it another chance in, I want to say, August. We ended up going on a trip together, and the trip was just absolutely horrible. I felt like, again, we are just two completely different people. I'm the type of person where if I'm on a trip, I don't want to be in the hotel room at all, because why did we come here to just hang out in the hotel room? Like, I'm the type where it's like we put our bags in the hotel, we get our bathing suits on, and we go. Like, we head out, we go to the beach, we go to get, you know, food, or we go like sightseeing, like whatever the case may be. I don't want to be sitting in the hotel room all goddamn day. Like, that literally makes no sense to me. Why the fuck did we even come here? And for him, I just feel like it wasn't like that. He kind of just was like lazy, wanted to stay in the hotel room, wanted to like go out on the beach, but only wanted to stay for like a little bit. And I'm just like, I hate people who go to the beach and only want to go for an hour. Why do we come to the beach? Why do we come to the beach? I don't understand it. Somebody please explain. So I just could tell from that trip that we honestly were just two completely different people, and I know when I'm just incompatible with somebody, right? There was also a time on our vacation where I ended up getting sick because he left me on the beach because his car ended up like having trouble on the way there. It was veering towards the left, so he ended up having to go drop his car off at like a dealership for it to get done, and then he Ubered back. But when he Ubered back, he didn't come back to the beach. He went out to the hotel room so he could smoke, and for whatever reason, he spent 30 minutes up there. So he was gone for an hour and a half, and I was on the beach by myself, and the place was literally down the street that he was taking his car to, so there was no excuse for him to be gone that fucking long. This is just what I'm saying, like, common courtesy. Like, your girlfriend is on the fucking beach, come back to the beach. You just smoked 30 minutes ago. Like, why are you smoking again? Like, it was just so annoying. So I was on the beach, I was by myself, and I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit like depressed because I'm like, yo, like, this vacation fucking sucks. I'm so incompatible with this person. I'm trying so hard to make it work. It's just not working. So I ended up getting really, really drunk. Okay, I ended up getting really drunk, and it was to the point where, like, if you know me in my personal life, you know that I don't let myself get drunk like that because I just like to always be coherent and aware of my surroundings. But I guess like it was a combination between the sun and the alcohol, I don't know, but I ended up getting really drunk, and I ended up getting like really sick, you guys, like really sick. I went upstairs, I was throwing up. This man did not like come for me once. He literally sat in the chair that was next to the bed while I was laying down like in pain. After that trip, I just knew it was over. I tried to make it work so badly, you guys, and it just would not work. So I want to say it was like September, I ended up breaking up with him. Now, this time when I broke up with him, he absolutely lost his shit. I was at my job when I broke up with him, and I had blocked him. Like, I basically texted him and I was like, hey, like, it's not working. You know, like, from previous times when we had broken up, he had gotten really upset. He had showed up at my house, stayed outside for literally hours, and I just didn't want any of that. So I told him, like, please respect my wishes. Please don't contact me. Please don't show up at my house. I really just want to be left alone. Like, I don't want to block you, but I have to, because unfortunately you make it this way, to the point where I have to block you or otherwise you're gonna fucking harass me. So I ended up blocking him. You guys, he messaged my mom on Facebook. Messaged my mom and was like, please tell your daughter to talk to me. I love her so much. She blocked me. I want to be with her. And my mom was kind of just like, who are you? Because I hadn't introduced him to my family, you guys, because at this point we were only together for, I want to say 4 months. Well, no, we were together in a total of like 6 months, but we had been official for about 2 to 3. And at this point, I was not ready to introduce him to anybody. I like to be with somebody for a really long time before I bring them around my family, my daughter, things like that, because I just always want to be conscious of the decisions that I'm making, because they don't only affect me, but they affect the people around me. And if I don't get the people around me involved and I end up getting hurt, then it's like I'm just getting hurt, right? It's not like my daughter's getting hurt, my family's not getting hurt, it's just me. She knew what he looked like and she knew his name, but she didn't know like him in person. And my mom just called me and she's like, what the hell is going on? I'm like, Mom, please just tell him to leave me alone. And she's like, well, he says he's coming to your house right now. And I'm like, can you please tell him not to come here? Like, I'm sorry to get you involved in this, but like, I just want to be left alone. Like, I don't know what to do. I was basically just like super afraid of his response and what he was going to do. And my thoughts ended up becoming a reality. He ended up calling me off of like a fake number. Like, he downloaded one of those apps. 10 minutes after I had gotten into my house that night, he ended up showing up to my house and was calling me profusely, literally calling me like 20 times in a row, leaving me voicemails of like 5 minutes long, just basically saying that he's, you know, coming to my house and that we're talking about this and that like I can't do this to him and just all of this stuff. And he was really putting a ton of pressure on me. He was emotionally manipulating me and I just did not like it. And I felt bad, but I was so ready to just be done with this relationship. Sat outside of my house for maybe an hour and then I finally just told him like he had to leave. Like there was no ifs, ands, or buts. He had to leave. So I ended up buying some time by basically telling him that, you know, let me just think about it for a couple days. Give me my space that I need and I'll think about, you know, like maybe what could happen or, you know, something like that. And he ended up leaving me alone for a couple days. But then after that was again calling me all the freaking time, leaving me voicemails, just like of him just like crying and just saying like I need to take him back. And it was just getting to the point where I was so fed up and I'm like, when I ask for my space, respect my space. None of this is making me want to be with you anymore. They ends up saying if you don't end up talking to me, I'm gonna show up to your house and knock on your door. And at the time I was living with my dad, so I didn't think he was actually gonna do that. And he knew this because he had never been like inside my house before. And in my mind, I really thought that he wasn't going to do it. I was like, he's calling bluff. He's not gonna actually show up. You guys, tell me why there ends up being a knock at my door and I hear my dad go to the door and it's Jose. He knocked on my door and asked my dad if I was home so he could talk to me. Let me remind you, my dad's never met him before. My dad doesn't even know that I have a boyfriend. He has no fucking idea. I don't get embarrassed that easily because personally I just don't care what people think. That was one of the most embarrassing moments of my life, okay? And I have done a talent show where I forgot the lyrics to a song and ran off stage. That was more embarrassing than that. I literally went outside and like ripped him a new asshole. I was like, what is wrong with you? Don't ever in your life knock on my door again. If I'm not answering you, I'm not talking to you, that's because I'm taking space that you said you were going to give to me. Leave me the f alone. I felt like he was forcing me to be with him and I didn't want to be with him. During this time too, he was also like sending me flowers, he sent me flowers for me, flowers for Aubrey, even though he never met her, a teddy bear, a card just saying how much he loved me and that he wanted me to give him another chance and to work it out. He was offering to like take me on all these trips and do all these things and be super affectionate with me and super loving. And I'm just like, where was all of this in our relationship? And that's one thing that really pisses me off about men, and that's why the quote, if he wanted to he would, is so true, because you were capable of doing all of these things when you were in a relationship with me, but now that I'm leaving you and I'm moving on, now you want to give me everything I've ever wanted. It should never take you leaving a man for him to do for you what he could have done all along. If a man is capable of doing something after you leave him, he was damn well capable of doing it when you were in a relationship with him. But the thing with these men is they think that we're always going to stay and put up with their nonsense. Then when we finally get the courage and we leave, that's when they want to start like sending flowers and taking us on dates and being affectionate. And it's like, where was this energy before? Like, I'm so confused. So this was like right before the Thanksgiving time, and I was just going through a lot at that time, and I just didn't have time for this anymore. I was so stressed. I was so just like worked up over this. And when I had broken up with him, I felt free. I just felt like I was coming more into my spirituality. I was doing things more on my own, and I was becoming like so independent. And I just felt like every time I either talked to him, got back together with him, even as so much to entertain a conversation with him, I was regressing so much backward. You guys get the point. I was pouring in so much. He was not doing the same. And then when I finally left him, like the third time, he wanted to really get his act right and start being that person that I needed. But it was coming at a time where it's like, dude, I had to ask for it so much that now I don't even fucking want it, because why did it take me leaving for it to get here? So he ended up doing this like scare tactic. I remember it was Thanksgiving where he said that, you know, he loved me and thank you for everything that I've ever done for him, and that he would always love me, but that he can't be here anymore if that means that he's gonna be without me, and that, you know, he's so depressed and just life isn't worth living. And so of course I freak out, run over to his house because I was so concerned about him. My mom had COVID at the time, So I ended up dropping off food for her for Thanksgiving and then rushing over to his house and just staying there with him because I was so worried about him. And now that I am more mature and older, I can thoroughly say that that was emotional manipulation. I ended up going to his house, consoling him, comforting him and consoling him, and then I ended up leaving that night. And I think in his head he thought that because I did that, that we were going to end up getting back together or something. And like, I remember I went to my job and he was like calling me, and I was wondering why he was calling me. I couldn't understand why, because I was working, and at one point I ended up having to go take the trash outside. And so, because at this time I worked at a chiropractor's office and I was a CA, a chiropractic assistant, and so I had left and I had gone outside to go take the trash out, and I saw his car, and I'm just like, what is he doing here? Like, now it's getting creepy. So I like ran back inside and I texted him and I was like, what are you doing at my job? Like, I can't come out there and talk to you. Like, I'm in the middle of working. I didn't get a break at this job because the hours were like super weird. And it was to the point where like I was only really working either like 4 hours a day or 6 hours a day. And you're not entitled to a break during that time. So I couldn't just come out there and talk to him. Like, I was like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, well, I just wanted to see you and I just wanted to talk to you. Like, I brought you some candy. And I literally told him, like, this is getting to a point where this is creepy. Like, now I don't know if I can walk out of my house or walk out of my job without you being there. I never said we were back together. Like, I'm here for you, whatever you need. I will, give you advice or help you as much as I can when it comes to your mental state. But like, I don't want to be in a relationship with you. And it was getting to a point where it's like, I can only be nice for so long before I have to just straight out say, like, I don't want to be with you. Please just leave me alone. Finally, I don't know how it happened, but I got him to kind of realize where I was coming from, and he started to kind of leave me alone. Now, where does his friend come into play? Well, let me explain. While we were in a relationship, his friend AJ would be around us sometimes. So we would hang out together, either the three of us, or we would go on double dates with whoever AJ was with at that time. And we would just kind of hang out and shoot the shit, whatever. So during that time, I got to know AJ a little bit, but not to a point where I would say we were like friends. But, it was my man at the time's, best friend. So I started noticing AJ and Jose hang out less and less and less. Like, they weren't talking as much, they weren't hanging out as much. And I ended up kind of asking him, like, what's the deal with you and AJ? You guys just like aren't hanging out anymore. And Jose ends up spilling the tea. Now, what is the tea? That is a great question. Apparently, when Jose was in a relationship before me, the ex that he couldn't stop talking about, during their relationship, AJ and Jose's girlfriend were exchanging some pretty inappropriate texts back and forth behind Jose's back. Now, Jose confronted AJ about it. AJ said it wasn't like that. I still don't know the full story to this day. AJ says that it was her that was texting him and that, she wanted him and that he wasn't giving her that energy back. Jose says that AJ was texting her, asking for pictures, things of that nature. And they both have different stories. There's 3 sides to every story. I don't know which one is the 100% truth. But I will say that it did seem like AJ was the one that was kind of like texting her and flirting with her. And I know that because of what he did with me. He ended up telling me this story and I was kind of like, why would you even be friends with him? That makes no sense. If any one of my friends ever in their life were texting my man behind my back to even so much as to ask him for a pencil, electric chair immediately. That's so inappropriate. What? I'm just kidding. But no, seriously, I was like, why are you still friends with him if he did this to you? Like, this doesn't make any sense. It's kind of weird. Like, I find that weird that you're still friends with him. And he goes, well, me and her aren't together anymore. So ultimately, I feel like me and him having a friendship, even though he did do that to me and it was fucked up, and I recognize that, me and him having a friendship, I just feel like doesn't really affect my life that much because she's not in it anymore. And I was like, that's still weird, but okay, go off. So over time, what ended up happening was AJ would do this thing where he would add me on social media, like he would add me on Instagram. And I would tell Jose about it and be like, AJ's adding me on Instagram. And my whole life, I've never had a private Instagram. I've always had a public Instagram. Just didn't ever feel the need to have a private one. I'm not Beyonce. I don't think anybody cares that much. So he was able to add me. And if I wanted to add him, I had to request him because he was private, but I felt like that was just inappropriate. There's no reason for me to add him and have him on Instagram. And plus, given what Jose has gone through in the past with his ex and AJ, his friend, I felt like that would be me stepping on toes. So I decided to not add him back, but I did let Jose know that he had added me because in my relationships, I don't ever want information coming from anybody else. I'm telling him and he's like, well, you know, I never told him that he couldn't add you, so I'm not gonna say anything, but it does kind of bother me. And I'm like, then be a man and fucking say something to him. Like, this just wasn't clicking in my head and making no sense. I saw from a mile away what was about to happen. Jose couldn't for some reason, or maybe he did but just didn't want to come off as like the jealous type. I have no idea, you guys. After he added me on Instagram, he moved to Snapchat. And so it became like, us as girls, we know what guys are trying to do. It's not just like, oh, I'm gonna add you so we can be cooler because you're my boy's girl. They're doing it for a reason, okay? Like, your man's friends are not your friends. I don't care what anybody says. Your man's friends are not your friends, because when he's cheating on you, when he's fucking you over, he and his friends are all a part of it. They're all witnessing what's going on. They are always going to have loyalty and they're always going to be indebted to him over you. So don't be thinking that your man's friends are your friends, because they're not. Same thing goes with this situation. A lot of times a man will have a woman and he'll bring her around his circle and his friends will be eyeing her. And I just feel like it's super weird. It's like, those are your friends? And this is not the first time this has happened to me. This has happened to me so many times where I have been with somebody and then we've broken up and their friends like try to reach out and I'm just like, these are your friends? Like, that's so fucking embarrassing. So he didn't say anything, and then what ended up happening was, obviously, me and Jose ended up breaking up. But right before we broke up, Jose and AJ started to have beef with each other. I guess one day Jose was on Xbox Live with his group of friends, but AJ wasn't on there, and Jose was kind of drunk, so he ended up talking shit about AJ, and he started bringing up all the stuff with his ex-girlfriend and how like he is just a habitual like homewrecker, and that he has these patterns that he tries to always talk to the girls that Jose talks to, and he's like, you know, he's even adding Dakota on social media, and he just ended up talking mad shit, okay? So word obviously got back to AJ, and AJ ended up going to social media and talking shit about Jose, saying that, you know, he was almost 30, still living in his mom's basement, and how could he bring me down there? And he said this one thing, and this is how we knew it was about me, because obviously I'm white, hello. And he goes, and by the way, if you're with a white girl, just know that I'll take her in like 2 seconds or something like that. So it was obvious that it was like about me, right? So Jose ends up texting me, telling me like, AJ's talking all this shit. When I see him, it's on site. Like, I'm gonna beat him up. I'm gonna fuck him up. I'm gonna go to his job. I'm gonna park outside of his job, wait for him to come out. He's talking shit about me, and now he's talking about you. But he wasn't really talking about me. He basically was just saying like, if your girl's a white girl, I'll take her. Because I don't know why he said that. I'm guessing because like I'm white, so he wanted to make it apparent that he was talking about me. I don't know. I have nothing to fucking do with that. I wasn't the one who said it, nor do I condone it. It's just what was said, and I'm just relaying it to you guys. I'm simply just reading a message and relaying it, okay? It has nothing to do with me. I don't feel that way. I don't think that way. Now that we've come to that conclusion, we can continue. Thank you. So basically, they had this like unspoken beef, and it was gonna be on site when they saw each other. The only problem is that they kind of ran in the same friend circle, so that was gonna be a problem, because how were they all gonna hang out when these two can't stand each other? I just went to go stand up and almost busted my ass. Almost broke my whole damn camera. Anyway. Alright, so boom. I hate when people say that. Okay. Let's get back into the motherfucking story time. This beef ends up going on social media. So I'm gonna tell you why. And this was, I guess, the last straw for the both of them. When me and Jose had broken up, we were still like, we would talk like every now and then, right? Like, it wasn't anything crazy. Like, he had sent me flowers for Mother's Day and for my birthday. Other than that, we just like really didn't talk to. I think he still thought in his mind like maybe we were gonna get back together or something. I don't really know. Yeah, I was like, you know, we could still be cool, we could be cordial, whatever. We would talk every now and then, and one day, I don't know how he saw, because we unfollowed each other on social media. We just thought it would be the best decision for both of us. But I guess he saw one day that AJ had added me on social media. We do this like weird thing throughout our relationship where he would add me, and then once he saw that I didn't add him back, he would unadd me. I don't know if he did that so that way there would be no evidence, or I don't know if he just felt like embarrassed that I wasn't adding him back. I really couldn't tell you. I have no idea. So then one day comes around and AJ randomly again adds me on Instagram and adds me on Snapchat. Now, I wasn't doing this to be petty. I wasn't doing this to stir no shit. I just thought in my mind, you know what, me and Jose aren't together anymore. AJ's adding me. I don't really care anymore. I'm just gonna add him back. It's whatever. In my mind, I didn't see it as me being disrespectful because I did not think AJ was cute, had no feelings for AJ, like literally had nothing for this kid. So for me personally, me adding him back, I didn't think was weird. Word got around to Jose that AJ had added me and that I added him back. What I think was happening was Jose was checking to see if AJ was still adding me or not, because I think in Jose's mind he thought that when me and him broke up that AJ was going to try to come after me. And so when he saw that happening, he hit me up. He was like cursing me out, basically saying like, I knew it, like why would you do this to me, you're really gonna leave me and start talking to AJ. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? Because I added him back. I was like, I don't even talk to AJ. I have never hung out with him. Like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And so I tell him, like, he needs to just get off my phone and leave me alone. Because at this point, I was getting really annoyed because he was, like, accusing me of doing something that I didn't even do. Yes, Jose had told AJ's baby mother all of this stuff about him. I guess he literally like messaged her on Facebook and was like, your baby father's a snake, he's a piece of shit. He ended up telling her about what had happened with, you know, him and his ex-girlfriend, and how his ex-girlfriend and AJ were texting behind his back when they were in a relationship, because they had never like reached out to AJ's baby mother to tell her any of this stuff. So he decided to let him adding me on social media to be when he was going to open Pandora's box and spill all the tea on AJ these past couple years. So he told him that, and then he tells her, which I did not appreciate at all, because it could have gotten me into some bad drama when I had nothing to do with this situation. Like, we were together, we're not anymore, but the beef that you and AJ have going on, it has nothing to do with me. You wanted to get on Xbox Live and talk your crap, whatever, cool, you're entitled to your own opinion. But when I had brought up to you that he added me on Instagram, that was the time right then and there to say something. You didn't want to say anything because you said, well, technically I didn't tell him that he couldn't add you. So in my eyes, I didn't see that drama having anything to do with me. We had been broken up, I'd already been moved on, so it was really just a waste of my time. So he had basically said, gave her my full name too. He goes, oh yeah, and by the way, he's trying to add my ex-girlfriend on, you know, Instagram and on Snapchat, and I guarantee he's trying to talk to her. Her name is Dakota Cross. Like, you can go look her up if you want, ask her yourself. And I just thought that was really disrespectful towards me, because I'm like, you're about to put me in this drama for no fucking reason. For no fucking reason. Like, this just literally makes no sense to me. And how did I find this out, you might ask? Well, it was because I get a text from Jose one day, and he's like, yo, did you see what AJ wrote on Facebook? And I'm like, no, we're not friends on Facebook. Why would I know that? And he goes, go look. So I went and I looked, and I guess the post was public, so I was able to see. And AJ had basically wrote like the street of the name that they used to live on, okay? So, which I can't say. But say the name of the street was like Franklin, right? He's like, there's people living on Franklin Ave that are rats and are snakes. And Jose's brother had wrote under it, and he'd been like, who's the snake that lives on Franklin? And then he was like, your bitch ass brother, or something like that. So that's when Jose had reached out to me, and so I started reading this, and I'm like, wait, why is he talking like that? And he's like, because I reached out to his baby mother and told him everything he's been doing. I told her that he's been messaging you. And I'm just like, why would you tell her my name though? You could have just said my ex-girlfriend. Like, why do you have to go and say my name? Start, you know, reading the post, and basically Jose's commenting on it, telling him off, his mother's commenting on it, his sister's commenting on it. So it's like Jose, his sister, his mom, AJ, Jose's brother, and then a bunch of other people are just commenting on this whole post, just like talking, like AJ's talking to Jose's mom, being like, oh, don't even come in my post talking to me right now. Go take care of your son, or like, go talk to your son. Like, just being like so disrespectful. AJ was being so disrespectful. Like, you don't talk to someone's mom like that, right? And so they're just all going like literally back and forth on this post. And then then AJ wants to bring up, he's like, yeah, you know, this rat wanted to go and he wanted to go call my baby mother and tell her all these lies of things that aren't true, X, Y, and Z, because AJ is denying that any of this stuff ever happened. And on the post, AJ goes and says my name. And it wasn't anything disrespectful towards me, but my name did get brought up into it, being like, oh yeah, he's trying to say that I'm trying to talk to, you know, Dakota Cross. Like, he put my whole name on there. And I'm kind of like, why are you putting my name on there? So I ended up messaging AJ on Snapchat and being like, hey, you know, whatever that y'all have going on is what y'all have going on. Do not put my name into it. I don't need to be brought into this. This has nothing to do with me. You guys have had beef for years. Like, when I literally tell you that when they got together, they would roast each other, make fun of each other. Jose would make fun of AJ, being like, oh, you know, in high school, you never ran track, you never played basketball, you never did wrestling, you were just short, shrimp, and skinny, and blah, 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 blah. And then AJ would be like, well, that's why I used to get bitches and you didn't. Like, they literally would, like, it was like that relationship that you had in high school, and you had a friend, and like your crush would come around and you would try to like make fun of your crush to make yourself look better type of shit. That's exactly what would happen between these two. So they had beef for years. It just so happens that something that involved him adding me set Jose off to go message AJ's baby mother and open Pandora's box. But this beef and drama doesn't really have much to do like with me, right? So from that day on, the beef and tension just kept getting, you know, higher and higher and higher. And one night, this all came full circle. So I am at my house one night and I'm just chilling, whatever. This was like, I think, a couple months after this whole thing on Facebook started happening. Oh, and by the way, when I had reached out to AJ to tell him, like, please leave my name out of it, he actually took the whole post down. He goes, you know what, Dakota, like, I'm so sorry, like, I never meant to bring you into this. It's just like, you know, I was just so angry. I don't know why he reached out to my child's mother. Like, it doesn't make any sense. She doesn't have anything to do with this anyway. But he's like, I'll just delete the post, my bad. And so I was kind of pissed off at AJ, but at least he deleted it. But I was even more mad at Jose. I keep almost saying his real name, for telling this girl like my full like first and last name, because you guys know how like baby mothers can be crazy. I'm not calling her crazy. I don't know her. I'm sure she's a great girl, but like, baby mothers can be crazy. Like, who's to say that she would have read it all, believed it, and then reached out to me, like, trying to like fight me or something? Like, I have a kid, like, I have my own business, like, that's just like a bad look for me. And I really had nothing to do with it. This was all happening because he added me on social media after me and you had been broken up for months. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. I'm in bed one night, I'm chilling, and I am just like watching Netflix, and I end up passing out, and I end up at like 2 in the morning getting a Snapchat message from AJ and a text message from Jose, literally identical timing. And they both are talking about, Jose's like, I beat AJ's ass, I just punched him in the face, we got into a fight, yada yada yada. And then I go to AJ's Snapchat and it's like, I just beat the shit out of Jose, we just fought. And I'm like, what? Like, at 2 a.m. in the morning, and I'm like, what is going on? So I decided to go back to sleep, and I was like, I'll just talk to them in the morning and see kind of like what happened, right? And so me and AJ weren't like talking necessarily after this, but I did message him and asked him if he could take my name off that Facebook post. He did. And so from then on, me and AJ would talk once in a while. But this is the tea that I found out. Before all this happened, AJ told me a lot of lies that Jose had been telling me in our relationship. One being that Jose never had a job. When I first started talking to Jose, he told me that he worked at a factory. This man would text me when he got to work at 6 a.m., would text me on his break every day at 1, and then would text me at 3 when he was walking back to his car on his way home. Like, guys, he literally would tell me, like, I'm on my way to work. I'm at break right now. I'm having a sandwich. What are you having for lunch today? Oh, I'm on my way to my car. I can't wait to go home and chill for the weekend. Or, oh, I have off tomorrow, right? This man, and why else would I not believe that? Who would lie about not having a job, right? Jose told me that he never had a job and that he hasn't had a job for a really long time. And that he only told me that because when he first met me, he thought that if he told me that he didn't have a job, that I wouldn't want to be with him. And he's 100% right. I wouldn't have been with him. And then the pandemic ended up coming around, and conveniently he lost his job during the pandemic because they couldn't go because of COVID. And And that's the story he still sticks with to this day. He says that he had a job the whole entire time, and then when COVID hit, he lost it. And so because he lost it, he had to rely on dealing weed. But really, he was dealing weed the whole entire time. But like, he lied to me so much. Like, I was in the car with him one night and he's like, I gotta talk to you about something. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, you know, like, I lost my job because of the pandemic. So, you know, unfortunately, because I lost my job, I'm gonna have to start going back to dealing weed because I used to do that back in the day. I haven't done it in a long time, but I have to go back to it because, you know, like, I need a source of income. And at the time, I understood because, all right, the story was perfect, right? I believed it because it was very believable. Like, why would I think this person's lying to me? He gave me no reason to think he was lying, and there were no red flags. He would text me all the time being like, hey, you know, good morning, like 6 a.m. I'm on my way to work right now. Have a good day. Or like, oh, I'm going to Dunkin'. I'm getting coffee. I have a 15-minute break from work. Why would I not believe he's at work, right? And then also when he was at work, he wasn't texting me the whole time because he couldn't get his phone. And I used to work at a factory, and that's very true. You can't be on your phones. Like, why would I think he was lying, you know? So the whole entire time he dealt weed, he just didn't want to be embarrassed by telling me that. So he lied to me and told me that he had a job. That was a lie. Things that had happened with his ex was a lie that he ended up telling me. Like, the real reason that they broke up was a complete lie. That wasn't true literally at all. There was just like so many lies. And it was lies because he didn't want to look dumb. So it's not like he lied for a malicious reason or to like intentionally hurt me. It was because he didn't want to be like embarrassed, right? But like, a lie is still a lie, and you're not being genuinely who you are. And if you could lie about something like that, what else are you lying about? So yeah, he told me all of that, and that plus the emotional manipulation that I've grown to like realize was emotional manipulation by him telling me he was going to hurt himself was enough for me to just wash my hands with him altogether and not even like want a friendship anymore. So me and AJ would talk like once in a while, like sometimes, right? But it wasn't really anything that much. So I ended up calling Jose in the morning, and I'm like, what the heck happened? What do you mean that you and AJ got into a fight? And this was Jose's story. Jose's story was that he was at a mutual friend's house that all of them basically used to go to back in the day, and they were hanging out and that they were chilling, and that out of nowhere he looked up from his phone. He was sitting by a fire with some girls at a bonfire, looked up and seen AJ walk in. So I guess AJ went to go brush past him to go talk to someone and say hi. And Jose looked at him and was like, yo, what's up? And called him the P word. Those two like started to kind of like exchange words or whatever. And out of nowhere, Jose just punched him in the face and knocked him out. That was his side of the story. And then he said after that, he just ended up leaving because he just didn't want to deal with any of the drama. And that as he was punching him, that he had him on the ground, he was punching him, and that AJ went to go punch him, but instead of punching him, he scratched his eye, right? That was his side of the story. And then I ended up messaging AJ because at this point, Jose's words are not credible. If you lie once, after that, I feel like your words just aren't credible. So I ended up asking AJ what happened, right? And I'm like, hey, like, what happened? Like, what was the fight about? And then I ended up telling him, you know, the information that Jose told me. And AJ was like, he is an effing liar. And this is the voice note that he sent to me. I'm just gonna play it for you guys. I'm going to change the voice, obviously. I'm gonna use like an editor to do that, and then I'm gonna blur out some people's names that they were with because I just don't want anybody knowing who this is about.
Why is he lying? Like, that is so crazy for him. Like, this is what really happened. So I was hanging with girlfriend, blah blah blah. One of the girls was there. She told me she's friends with Shannon. She said she had to come over, whatever. And then Shannon was like, "You see who I'm with?" Obviously, because she posted me and on her snap. So she was like, "You obviously see who I'm with. You know who's there." So supposedly told them that he was gonna be peace. Like, he knew I was coming, so he told them, he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna be peace," whatever. Like, I guess he was gonna try to squash the shit. So me, I was feeling a little drunk. I was on no type of time. Like, I didn't want to hear that. So I went there. As soon as I got there, like I said, I seen him. He was talking. They were all like by a fire. He was talking to some girl. And then, so I walked up. It wasn't none of him saying nothing to me first. I was the one coming, like, because everybody was telling me to chill. They were like, don't go over there just like trying to like immediately fight. I was like, nah, I'm gonna, all that shit he was talking, he's gonna beat my ass. I want to see if he's gonna do it. So I walked up, went up, I started talking mad shit. shit. I'm like, so who said they gonna beat my ass? And then that's when he said something like, oh, what's up, pussy, whatever. And I was like, what? So I talk all that shit now. We started going back and forth. We was arguing for like a good 5 minutes before anything happened. He started taking off his chain, all this shit, took off his sweater like he was gonna do something. Everybody's holding us back. And then I started just talking mad shit. I'm like, bro, you live I started talking about him living on. I'm like, bro, I used to run to my street. He got mad as fuck when I said that. He tried to swing, missed. He didn't make no contact with me he never hit me. He missed. So then that's when I started hitting him. Grabbed him. I literally was choking him. Had my one hand on him, choking him in his fucking neck. And then everybody broke it up. Everybody's grabbing me. They broke it up. I'm looking at him. That's when I started. He was right. I started talking shots. I'm like, I does this. I'm like, you're weak as fuck. I'm like, I just manhandled you. I was choking you out. And then everybody tried to get us to fight one-on-one again. The kid's house. Tried to get him to fight one-on-one. I said no, and then he left. He literally just walked up, and we all stayed there. His eye was all messed up. He told me he didn't want to fight because his eye was messed up. He was bleeding out his mouth. So how you didn't get hit, but your eye was fucked up. You left literally right after.
Okay, so you guys obviously just heard everything, and so to summarize, basically AJ had said that everything he said was a complete lie. What ended up happening was he walked into the house and that Jose knew he was coming. Jose told me he had no idea he was coming. He looked up from his phone. AJ walked in. AJ was like, that is a complete lie. That's not true. He knew I was coming. The reason why he knew was because somebody at the party told him to come, told his friend and bring whoever they're with to come through. And the girl was like, no, you see who I'm with. You know that him and Jose don't get along. They have beef. And they were like, nah, just come through because we just talked to Jose, and Jose said that he's going to be on some peace. He's going to be on some peaceful shit. He doesn't want to start anything. He wants to squash the beef. And so AJ was like, no, that's not happening. You've been talking about, because I'm not gonna lie, he is right when he says Jose was talking about him for a minute. They have been talking for a long time, for 6 months straight, to all their friends being like, when I see AJ, it's on site, I'm gonna beat his ass, I'm gonna park outside of his job, I'm gonna wait for him to come out, all of this stuff. So he was talking for a really long time, and I will give AJ that. So AJ was like, no, I've had enough of it, we have the time and the place and nothing but space and opportunity, let's do it. So he's like, so who said they're gonna beat my ass? They were arguing for a really, really good 5 minutes, which Jose said they didn't argue at all. Jose basically said that he just went right up to him and was like, oh, what up, P? What's up? And that AJ was like, oh, I does this. If you want to fight, let's go. And that Jose punched him in the face, and that was it, right? Throwing low blows. And then I guess AJ went to go say, you still live on Franklin Ave with your mom. I used to run Franklin Ave. Franklin Ave is my street. Basically claiming what hood they own. And he said that out of all the things that he said to Jose, that one line is what tripped him off. And then that's when Jose swung. Jose missed according to him. And then AJ had punched him in the face. And then after that, they broke it up. People were getting in the middle of them. They broke it up. And then the owner of the house was like, if you guys want to go fight, you guys got to go outside. And then I guess according to Jose, he didn't want to fight one-on-one because his eye was messed up. AJ was willing to go outside and do a one-on-one fight, get it done and over with and stuff. And Jose didn't want to. That is a story according to AJ. And the next day, Jose did post a video on Instagram of his face, and he did have a little bit of a black eye, and he did have a scratch. He didn't have anything on his face. So like I said, there's 3 sides to every story. I wasn't there, and I also didn't talk to anybody else who was at the party. It was just a really crazy night. Jose to this day still says that he beat AJ's ass. AJ says that he fought Jose, and then that's what happened. And then AJ does make a valid point. He's like, if you had to go on Instagram and post a video of your face, that's how you know you lost. Like I said, I wasn't there. I don't know the whole story, but I don't know. I don't really know. There's no disrespect towards any of them for this story. That's just literally what happened. I just found it absolutely hilarious that it did happen, because I just could not believe that they actually fought. Jose had been talking about it for so long, and then when it actually happened, it was a 2-second fight. But there was so much that Jose left out and so much that AJ put in, and I just don't see AJ's reason to lie about it. I just find it weird that the one comment or remark that made Jose swing was talking about who runs the street that they live on. That's what set you off, not the fact that he did that with your ex-girlfriend, not the fact that he added me on social media while I was with you, like none of that, just the fact that he said that he runs your street. Are you kidding me? Like that was the most comical part to me about this whole entire thing. I don't know much about them anymore, honestly. I don't talk to them, don't hear from them, none of that. I just thought it was a funny story that I wanted to come on here and share because it honestly is freaking hilarious. I will never forget laying in my bed at 2 in the morning and getting texts from the both of them talking about how they both like fought. Like that shit was honestly pure comedic gold to me. I hope you guys enjoyed this story time. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and turn your post notifications on. That way you're notified every single time I post a video here on YouTube. Also follow my personal development podcast. We're about to release season 3 on there, and then every single Thursday there will be a new video for you guys to enjoy. I might start putting it on here. I'm not really sure yet. And today's post notification shout out goes to Bernice Pavana. She said, I love your story times so much. Bernice, thank you so much for leaving a sweet comment on my video. It's because of subscribers like you that I'm able to do what I love every single day and turn my platform into my career. Thank you so much. You guys know I would not be here and could not do this without every single one of you, and I am so grateful and I love you guys so much for supporting me, for every like, every share, every comment, and just your support in general. Every view means the whole entire world to me. If you want to be on my next video shout out, all you have to do is turn your post notifications on, make sure you're subscribed, leave a comment down below, and you could be featured in the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching today's story time with me and hanging out with me, and until next time, bye.
Isn't an option due to unusual rain and thunder. Baby, I wonder. It's been a minute since we last kicked it. And by the way, just got in town, and I won't let cumulus clouds all in the sky.